What's going on, guys? It is the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome video. The top 8 roller coasters at Six Flags America. And this park I just got to go to yesterday. And overall, it was a pretty solid park. And I know I got to go to Carowinds today. Fury 325. Awesome ride. Intimidator is also an awesome coaster. Afterburn, probably my favorite invert I've ridden. But we are moving on to the top 8 coasters at Six Flags America, and let's get started with number 8, which is Mind Eraser, and this is the Vekoma SLC. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but Mind Eraser, no, just a bad Vekoma SLC. This thing murdered my left ear, and it hurt for 5 to 10 straight minutes after the ride was over, and it was just a headbanger. The inversions were not good. It was very shaky. Even the brake run had headbanging. Definitely one of the worst coasters I've ever ridden.Maybe even the worst. That was just bad. Not a great coaster at all. Number 7 is Apocalypse, and this is a B&M stand-up, the only B&M at Six Flags America, and formerly Iron Wolf at Six Flags Great America, and I was kind of looking forward to riding this coaster, and I thought it would be like, probably a 5 or a 6 out of 10 coaster, but probably like a 2 or 3 out of 10 coaster, but like, Apocalypse, it's not a clone, but still not a great coaster. It was pretty cool. It was my first stand-up coaster ever riding, and it was the first B&M stand-up, but it wasn't that great. It was super shaky. The headbanging was just horrible, and just not really an enjoyable ride. Like, B&Ms, I usually think, like, they're awesome attractions, but that B&M was definitely the worst B&M I've ever ridden. Number 6 is Roar, and this is a GCI Woody at Six Flags America, and if this coaster had GCI trains, it would be so much better, because the PTC trains, like, the front row was decent, but I only got to ride this coaster once, just like Mind Eraser and Apocalypse, because I didn't really have the need to ride it again. So Roar, it was okay. There were some decent turns, and it wasn't a bad coaster, but it wasn't the greatest either. I feel like the layout could have been done better. There could have been better airtime. It was just an okay coaster. Moving on, we have number 5. We have a childhood favorite in Ragin' Cajun. And this coaster I actually rode at Six Flags Great America before they removed it in 2013 and relocated it to Six Flags America. And Ragin' Cajun, overall, it's a pretty fun ride. I really enjoy the spinning part of the ride, and it's fairly smooth for a wild mouse. And overall, I always preferred it over Dark Knight at Six Flags Great America, and overall, pretty fun wild mouse. Definitely the second best wild mouse I've ever ridden. Number 1 being Apple's Apple at King's Dominion. Number 4, we have Wild One, and overall, this is a decent Woody. I feel like this coaster had some decent airtime hills, and it was not bad in the front row. Overall, front row ride on it was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty enjoyable, and it's definitely a classic Woody. It's been around for over a century, and it's been relocated. So, Wild One overall, pretty fun ride, and probably in any other row besides the front row, it probably wouldn't have been that great. But the front row ride, I thought it was pretty solid. Number 3, we have Batwing, and we're getting into the top 3. These are the only coasters I actually rode multiple times. And Batwing was overall a pretty fun flying coaster. For the Vekoma Flying Dutchman's, Firehawk is definitely the best. Nighthawk's definitely the worst, and Batwing's that ride in the middle. It is a little shaky, not nearly as shaky as Nighthawk though, but it's not as smooth as Firehawk. But overall, it's still a fun ride. I really do enjoy it. And just overall, Batwing, pretty fun Vekoma Flying Dutchman. The vertical loop is easily the best part of the ride. Number 2, we have Joker's Jinx, and this is a clone of the Flight of Fear coasters, but Joker's Jinx is way better than the Flight of Fear clones, as it is outdoors, and the launch is glossy smooth. Like, I tried this thing in a few different rows, and it was glossy smooth. The first launch, glossy smooth, and it was fairly smooth for the rest of the ride as well. There wasn't really too much jerkiness at all. Very fun attraction. And overall, definitely the second best ride in the park, in front of Batwing because of that launch. But number 1 is obviously Superman Ride of Steel, and this coaster, definitely a fun hyper coaster. Overall, Superman Ride of Steel, I've heard like disappointing reviews on it, like Coaster Studios says the helixes are pretty pointless and just not really that good. Superman Ride of Steel, the helixes are kind of long and kind of, it'd be nice if they were bank turns, but overall helixes, I don't really mind them. It was those were pretty solid, but the airtime was decent on it, and overall there was a few small straight sections. I thought those were pretty cool. You're just going straight and you were flying at a pretty good speed. Like, I thought that was a pretty fun part of the ride, and overall it was a solid coaster, but unfortunately there is one other clone of it. Kind of like a lot of these rides, like Roar used to be a clone, but not really. So there aren't really too many non-cloned coasters at Six Flags America, but for what they have, I thought the coasters were solid, especially their top 4 were all solid. Raging Cajun was a decent family coaster, and then Roar was kind of Apocalypse and Mind Racer, just ride them once and then never ride them again. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more videos, and my next countdown will be on Carowinds. See ya.